Alright, hey, this is a review of how to name an ionic compound. We went over this on Friday, but in case you forgot, hopefully this video will help you. First things first, you must name the positive ion, and then you must name the negative ion. So you're only going to have two words you have to kind of use to make an ionic compound name. So let's look at this first example. I have MgO here. And so if you remember what I told you on Friday, I said after the first element, just kind of draw a line. Okay? The element on the left will be your first name, the element on your right will be your second name. So Mg, if I look at my periodic table, Mg stands for magnesium. Okay? Then if I look at the right hand side, the letter O stands for oxygen. But if you notice, the answer says oxide. Whenever you have just one element, one single element like oxygen, the ending will change to IDE. Okay, so like nitrogen would be nitride, phosphorus would be phosphide, chlorine would be chloride. So the ending will change to IDE. So let's do some examples and see if we can't clear this up a little better. All right, here's our first one, B2S3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line after my first element. And then I'm going to go to my periodic table and see if I can't find these two elements. So first one's letter B, so let's go to our periodic table. I see the letter B right here. So let's kind of zoom in so you can't see it better. So B stands for boron. So I'm going to write boron for my first name. So B is boron. And then S, I'm going to go back to my periodic table. See if I can't find S. So here we go. Actually, it's right here. S. S stands for sulfur. So then we're going to put sulfur in. So boron and sulfur. But remember, this is not my answer. Sulfur, since it is one element, its ending will change to an IDE ending. So if I look at my final answer should be boron sulfide. IDE. Let's try another one. Li3P. Again, I'm going to draw a line after my first element. Li3. So let's go to my periodic table, see if I can't find Li. Zoom out of here. And Li is over here on this left-hand side. So let's zoom in if we can't see what it is. It is called lithium. Okay? Lithium. Let's get out of there. Let's go a little back. Lithium. And then the next letter is the letter P. So that's one element. So I'm going to go back to my periodic table. See if I can't find the letter P. Okay, let's go back. Here it is right here, the letter P. So if I look at its name, it says that it is phosphorus. So let's write in phosphorus. Too far back. Phosphorus. Oop, I'm getting a little stuck on me. Phosphorus. But like we said, since phosphorus is one element, we're not going to call it phosphorus. We're going to change its ending to an IDE ending. So it's now going to be called lithium phosphide, IDE. Okay. Alright, now there is an exception to this rule. So let's go back and let's see if we can't learn the next part. It's not always ending in IDE. Sometimes it can end in ate or ite. So end in ate or ite. That will only happen if it's a polyatomic ion. Remember, poly means many atoms. It's more than one element. So an example will be potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrite. So for that, you won't need your periodic table, you'll just need your polyatomic ion list that I have given you. So let's just try a few examples like those. Alright, again, I'm going to draw my line after the first element. So Na2, it's my first element. And if you go to your periodic table, it's going to tell you Na is sodium. Okay. Then I have SO4. So this is one element, two elements. So that's two elements. That's more than one. That means I need to use my polyatomic ion list. So all I'm simply going to do is go find SO4, and here it is right here, SO4, and the formula's right there, and it just tells me the name. It says the answer is sulfate. So I'm going to write in sulfate, and once I pull the answer down, sulfate, you'll see that you're correct. Sulfate, kind of pull my answer down, it says sodium sulfate, Na2SO4. So I think polyatomic ions are a little bit easier because you can just kind of copy it down. You kind of have to memorize. Let's try another one. CaCO3. Let's draw a line after our first element, Ca. If you go to your periodic table, you're going to find out that Ca stands for calcium. Sorry, calcium. My computer's getting a little stuck, but it's okay. You get the idea. So calcium. And then CO3, that's more than one element. C is a carbon, oxygen, O is oxygen. So let's go to our polyatomic ion list. Oops, wrong one. Ca, CO3, 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 and here it is right here, CO3. And it is called carbonate. So if we go back, we said it's carbon. Actually, I'm not going to draw it. Get the idea. If I scroll down to the answer, it says calcium carbonate is CaCO3. Okay, there is one kind of trick. There's one that's kind of a hard one. So let's try this last one. It's kind of the bonus question. NH4Cl. So I've been telling you over and over again to draw a line after the first element. This is the exception. There is one positive ion out there, and it's called ammonium, and this is it. So you're actually supposed to draw your line after the H4. NH4 is two elements, so that's polyatomic. NH4 is one of the few that's positive, so if I go back to NH4, look at the bottom of my list, right down here, NH4 is called ammonium. It is the one, and well, besides the hydronium right below it, they're the only two that are positive. Okay, so if you ever see NH4, just know immediately that's ammonium. So let's go back to the list. So NH4 is ammonium. Let's draw that in ammonium. And then Cl is one element. So if it's one element, I use my periodic table. And we all know that Cl is chlorine. And like we've been saying over again, if it's one element, you can just change its ending from INE to IDE. So it should be chloride. Sorry, my spelling's kind of bad. So if we kind of show the final answer, so ammonium chloride. Okay. Now go to your schoolwork in My Big Campus. Take the 10-question quiz. You will need your periodic table and your polyatomic ion list. Those are both placed inside the announcement tab, so just kind of download those in a separate tab so you can have those on hand. Again, if you have any questions, message me on My Big Campus, and you'll do just fine.